Don't get duped by your CRO agencies. In this video, I'm going to be talking about warning signs that you need to look out for to understand that your CRO agency is in fact a fraud. They don't have your best interest at heart. Before I talk about the warning signs that you need to look out for, it's better to first highlight that there's some excellent CRO agencies out there. There's some excellent CRO consultants out there. And in the same way, there's some terrible CRO agencies out there. And some of them have been around for a long time. And although they claim to have a track record, from the outside, you think they're a very, very good CRO agency. But there's certain things that you do not see from the inside. And I'm going to give you like an inside perspective, the warning signs that you need to look at when you're hiring a CRO agency. So the first thing you need to look at is their team structure. I'll tell you a story first. So as a contractor, as a freelance consultant, I work with in-house teams and I have worked with multiple agencies. I've worked, some of the best work experience I've had has been with agencies doing CRO and SEO and optimization for them. So the first thing to look out for is the team structure of an agency. What I mean by team structure is you want to know, if you're hiring a CRO agency, how big is their CRO function? It's important to understand that for CRO to work and function effectively, you need elements of web analytics, implementation and reporting. You need elements of UX. You need someone within that CRO team that understands email marketing, especially for e-commerce, so they can help with the cart abandonment emails and all those important emails that kind of make sure that conversion happens post-purchase and even pre-purchase. So when you're looking at the team structure, when you have a CRO agency that has literally one person in their CRO team, that is a warning sign. A CRO team for an agency needs to be at least 3 people. And this does not apply to a CRO consultant. I'm a CRO consultant by default. I have a background in email, a background in SEO, a background in Google Ads, a background in content. This I'm doing here is an example of content that I'm creating. So when you're looking at this team structure, you also want to look at your communication with that team. Is the communication through someone that is not a subject matter expert, or is the communication with the actual person that implements that CRO? So what do I mean by this? I'll give you an example. So this particular agency that I'm talking about had account directors in that agency that did not understand CRO. An account director that agrees with a client that, okay, we're going to A/B test a staging area of a website. Mind you, a staging landing page does not get traffic, does not get paid or SEO traffic. That's when I knew that, okay, but this individual has been account managing CRO for years, but doesn't understand the fundamentals of CRO. And that is the person that is in charge of a CRO optimization. So that is another red flag. So when you're looking at the team structure of your CRO agency, you want to go into each individual on that team. You want to look at their educational background. You want to look at their certification. It's funny how when you're hiring your team in-house, you're more thorough as business owners. But when you're hiring an agency, you kind of switch off a little bit and just assume that because they're an agency, they're subject matter experts. There are lots of agencies out there that claim to be doing CRO that don't even understand the fundamentals of marketing. They do not understand that you can use usability testing, you can use UX to improve conversions on a website. They do not understand that a good value proposition communicated from acquisition through to your landing page, through to post-purchase, they do not understand that. So with this agency, I saw a pattern as well. I'm not saying every agency needs to have someone with a marketing degree on their team, but you find agencies that you have people that are not even educated in terms of professional qualifications. There are a lot of CRO qualifications that you can do out there. There's the CXL qualification. I'm not recommending any of these qualifications, but they're UX trainings and all those kind of things. So another warning sign that you want to look out for is not actually testimonials and all those kind of things. You want to look at the people actually doing your CRO. Do they have UX qualification? Do they have Google Analytics qualification? Do they have content understanding? Like, can they create content? Can they create content that communicates value proposition? So if you're hiring an agency that doesn't even have content production capability internally, that is another warning sign. I mentioned communication. I'll give you an example. So I was working on this project with the agency at the time, and the client needed to have conversations about CRO. That conversation was had by the account director and other people within the client services team without me being present. Obviously, you probably have picked up now that that was a toxic environment and it wasn't a good experience from my perspective. But from this kind of experiences, I've learned this warning signs, and that's why I'm talking to you about this. So when you have a situation where your agency that is doing CRO does not allow that direct communication with the subject matter expert, and you have a third party filtering that communication, a lot of things will be lost in translation. That is a problem, and that is a red flag. Another warning sign that you need to pay attention to when you're hiring a CRO agency, or even if you have an existing CRO agency, is you need to analyze and review their understanding of strategic and tactical. Another example is this particular agency that I was talking about. We were working on a client, and I knew straight away that this client in question needed to diversify their acquisition channel, because this particular client was relying on just one channel. A tactical focused agency would not look at things from a big picture perspective. What I mean by this is they're not thinking about your customer from a holistic perspective, like, okay, where are the high value customers? Where can we find them? It doesn't necessarily mean those customers have to be on Google Ads alone. It means you need to think outside the box. This is more of a growth marketing, growth hacking mindset. So a CRO agency that cannot think outside of the box, cannot think strategically, cannot think around your target customer, that is another red flag, because you have an agency that just feels the only way to get acquisition is through paid medium. That is a red flag, because your CRO agency needs to be doing the best to reduce your cost. And that is a bit counterintuitive, because the agency itself is a cost for you. So their goal is to make sure that they are giving your business enough revenue increase to accommodate their fees as an agency. And this agency, one thing that I also realized quickly was it was a cheap agency. When an agency is willing to charge you very low amount in terms of CRO services and you're happy about it, then the conversation goes around, you get what you pay for. Another red flag, another warning sign you need to look at from your CRO agency is if the agency is desperate. If they're desperate that they don't push back, if they don't take initiative, that is a red flag. An agency that is always just going to say yes, 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 yes to you is not an agency that really cares about you. All they care about is for you not to break out of the contract with them. But an agency that really wants the best from you would be more firm, professional though, in their approach, which lead me to the next warning sign you need to look at an agency. You have some level of professionalism in different agencies, and agencies can be casual, can be laid back. But when you're having conversations, a serious warning sign you need to pay attention to is the level of professionalism. Is the agency really, really methodical? Are they strategic in their thinking? Are they really professional in their communication? But the problem with this is we're in the era of ChatGPT and AI, where people that are incompetent can easily use ChatGPT and AI to write email and communicate with you that makes them look professional. But when you're really, really having human-to-human conversation with them, you need to look for that warning sign that shows lack of professionalism. That is another red flag. And this is important because I highlight the importance of education. I'm not saying someone that doesn't have a university degree cannot really do good CRO, but I'm highlighting that a university education helps with critical thinking. When you're looking at your CRO agency and you can not identify elements of critical thinking, logical and critical thinking, what you learn in university is you learn to be critical about everything. You just don't accept things in face value. I'll give you another example. The CRO community has a very big following that follow particular individuals that are regarded as thought leaders. I follow some people that I regard as thought leaders, but some of these CRO agencies and experts follow best practices and things that certain individuals recommend without critically asking that question. Why is this like this? Is there another way to do this? Like, I've always been a big advocate for UX to be really, really important when it comes to conversion optimization, where I'm actually open to ignoring A/B testing, because with UX insight and UX processes, you can understand your customers, you can understand the motivation, you can understand the emotions that contribute to purchase decision, you can understand the customer journey. That comes from having a master's degree in marketing. That comes from having university education. I'm going to create a video that talks about pros and cons about hiring a marketer that has a university degree as opposed to one that doesn't. Again, I'm saying this, I've met some very fantastic marketing professionals that didn't have a university degree, so that is not a barrier. But when you're looking for warning signs, you want someone that at least understands the fundamental of marketing. I mentioned professional qualification as well. That's really, really important. One thing you also need to look at when you're hiring a CRO agency is their process. A CRO agency needs to be able to show you the workflow of how they've executed conversion rate optimization in the past. It's easy to just pull something off the internet and present to you, but you would know because you need to be asking them questions about past clients that they've worked on and how they went about those optimization strategies. You need to ask about failures, because everybody talks a lot about successes. We had this success, we had that success, but what are the failures that they've experienced? That is extremely important. So what I'm recommending is, instead of hiring a CRO agency, you have the option of building an in-house CRO team. You need someone to come within your organization, because that person will be focused on just your website. Another red flag to look at, again, is you need to look at the number of clients they have. If they have too much clients, that means they're spread too thin. If they have too little clients, that means they don't have the subject matter expertise that they claim to have. So all these factors, you need to kind of listen and pay attention. It's easy to be bamboozled and hire the agency. And that's why I recommend CRO services to be structured as a 90-day approach. The first month of the agency is to do the initial research, implementation, and making sure that all your analytics and UX is implemented properly. The second is to identify and implement UX quick wins. And the third is then to help you create an A/B testing roadmap. If your website has enough traffic, your website needs to have a certain number of conversions before you think about A/B testing. This particular agency that I'm talking about that is a dodgy agency, there's that approach where even the A/B testing tool they were using was free. You do not use a free A/B testing solution for a website that has a large Google Ads budget. It just doesn't make sense. So these are the kind of red flags you need to look at. You need to also ask them the question, what kind of A/B testing tool have you used and what kind of tool can you use? You need to look at their partnership with those testing software and solution, because most testing platforms have partnership with good, reputable agencies. So that can be another way of vetting. You look at the list of accredited partners that those testing solutions have that can help you with that vetting process. But ultimately, if I was in a situation where I needed to hire a CRO agency or a CRO consultant or a CRO team internally, I would actually go for building an in-house CRO team. In that instance, you can get a CRO consultant to mentor and train your CRO team. That would then build your internal capability to be able to go on and move on with your CRO internally. Because let's face it, when you hire an agency, you're paying for the overheads. You're paying for their rent, all those costs, all those account directors, client services, and all those people, the salary is added up and you will carry that cost. But when you hire a CRO contractor, a freelance CRO consultant, they're less expensive than those CRO agency. And in most instances, those freelance consultants would have had years of senior leadership, hands-on experience. So you're actually hiring someone with a combined 12, 15, 20 years experience of CRO when you hire a freelance consultant, as opposed to hiring an agency. Because when you hire an agency, even if that agency has had 10 years or 15 years of CRO, they've had a lot of turnover. They've had a lot of staff leave. So that experience is not compounded. That experience is limited. And you even have situations where you have an agency that outsources CRO to contractors. So if you have an agency that outsources to contractors, why do you not just go ahead and hire a freelance CRO contractor or consultant? So my name is Femi Olajiga. I'm a freelance CRO consultant. If you need help implementing a 90-day, no contract, a 90-day CRO audit and implementation to increase conversions. And when I say conversions, I mean looking at your acquisition channel, looking at your content, looking at your email flow, looking at the end-to-end pre and post-purchase funnel of your website. Connect with me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email and I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.
If you've got a real-life question, challenge, or scenario that you would like covered, Femi can cover it in the future episodes of the podcast. Just drop him a message on LinkedIn. Femi is also available for one-to-one coaching and consultancy services as well. So head over to LinkedIn, connect with him, and send in your message.